Hello and welcome to the I Am Woman project, where every week we have deep, thought-provoking and interesting conversations with thought leaders, change instigators, rule breakers and creative minds who think differently, sparking creativity and inspiration. Our special guests on our show cover a variety of topics just for you, and they share their personal stories to inspire, motivate and empower you, our listener. The I Am Woman podcast is produced for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at www.catherineplano.com. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favourite RSS feed or iTunes. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get into the show. Hello and welcome. This is Julianne Black and you're listening to the I Am Woman project, the place where collaboration meets inspiration and possibility. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce today Genevieve Clay-Smith. Now, Genevieve and I have only recently met when I saw her speak at the Women in Leadership conference here in Melbourne recently, and she was fascinating, and we had a lot of synergies with regards to TV and what she's up to in the creative space, and I just wanted her to share all her goodness with you. So this will be a fascinating conversation as we deep dive into who Genevieve is, how she operates, how she just makes her world tick. So welcome, Genevieve.
Thanks, Julianne. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share with you and your listeners.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming. Thanks for saying yes. So Genevieve is the 2015 New South Wales Young Australian of the Year and winner of the 2014 100 Women of Influence Young Leader Award. She's the co-founder of Bus Stop Films, a not-for-profit dedicated to giving people with intellectual disability access to film studies. She's also the co-founder and co-owner of creative agency Taste Creative, which was nominated as Best Emerging Agency of the Year in 2015, Mumbrella Awards and B&T Awards. My goodness, that is a list, isn't it? Very impressive.
Oh, thank you, Julianne. It's lovely when your hard work does get recognised. It puts wind in your sails. So I'm very grateful for the acknowledgements I've received.
Yeah, 100%. And, as I was reading it out, I'm like, just take your time, slow down so I didn't get all tongue-tied on everything that was coming up there. But there are so many awards and, so many accolades. How did you, how did they all come about for you? Because it's been a lot quickly.
Yeah, look, 2014 and 15, it started kind of ramping up. And it's really interesting because you don't really do your work for awards. I mean, I personally don't, and I don't think it's a great idea to kind of be focused on awards. But certainly, like I mentioned before, when hard work does get acknowledged and recognised, it does give you energy, I believe, and particularly my work with the not-for-profit Bus Stop. It's a voluntarily run organisation. I've been dedicating volunteer hours to it for the past 7 years, and a lot of love pours into it. And picking up the 2015 New South Wales Young Australian of the Year Award just confirmed to me that people want our program out there. It was like a beautiful confirmation from my community saying, keep going, what you're doing is good and needed. And it certainly did provide me with energy and, confidence to keep up that work. And I suppose just on the Taste Creative front, I mean, my husband and I started that business off in a little kind of walk-in wardrobe off the side of my bedroom. And so, and we used to, celebrate by, buying a pie down the road if things went well. We were so poor, a pie was a treat. And so to be able to kind of grow it over the past 5.5 years and then get that acknowledgement, it just kind of, it's really lovely and a lovely confirmation of hard work.
Yes. And thanks for sharing that, because I think it is like a lot of the best things that we create do happen from the most obscure places, like kitchen benches. And I think that I love the fact that you celebrated so early as well, in the fact that you knew that celebration was a big part of tapping yourselves on the back and to keep moving. And it doesn't have to be expensive when you don't have the cash flow. Taking a 5-minute break, a 10-minute break, a 15-minute walk, and having a pie, or an hour walk and a pie, and just a look into each other's eyes and go, oh my God, we're making progress.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. No, we've really tried to, from the beginning, celebrate every little success, because with every success, there's a failure on the other side. It really
that preceded it.
Absolutely. There's lots of failures on the journey as well. So it is important to celebrate the successes when they come along.
Yes. Yeah. And the other thing that's a standout as well is that when we're listening to your introduction, Young Australian of the Year, it seems like all of these things have been, quick succession. Like 2014, 2015, it went boom. But when I heard you talking before, it was, Bus Stop Films has been 7 years in the making. Taste Creative has been 5 years in the making. You started really young in your endeavors to create greatness, and there's always a journey in that. So once again, you're demonstrating, even though you're getting the accolades as a young person still, the endeavors are not an overnight success.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Next year actually marks 10 years of me working in the film industry and getting my first filmmaking job. And, it's definitely been a journey that hasn't just been overnight, for sure. And, success, great sustainable success doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't. You have to learn the lessons, the hard lessons that come with building a business and with building a career. The hard lessons are what will sustain you in the long run and help you to avoid making the same mistakes in the future, so you can have a sustainable career and sustainable business. Definitely not overnight success. It has been a build, and we're continuing to build. There's more for us as well. For my husband and I with Taste, we've got goals that we want to achieve, and with Bus Stop, there's work to be done in making it sustainable. So, the journey continues, and there's always something else to do as well on the journey. It kind of never just finishes with a bright, shiny accolade. There's something else. There's a new goal to set and achieve. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Always something to be striving for. And I think when we recognize that, the variety and the creativity can still stay really buoyant, and the energy and the go-gettedness can still really stay very vibrant and buoyant in that. And it takes time to build any foundation.
It's true. It does. You don't want to just shoot up like a quick sapling and then get knocked over in the breeze. You've got to have solid roots and that goes down deep to sustain you, for when those storms of life do come along, when those tests do come, and they do, and it really is the determining factor of if you will succeed, because there's been many times where I feel like I could have given up and contemplated changing directions, but I stayed firm and decided not to let failure be the defining factor of my career. I chose to make failure something that could propel me forward and something that would help me to learn from. And I think it is a defining moment when you're faced with a failure. Will you quit while you're ahead, or will you give it another push? And I feel like, that's been a big part of my journey for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. And it reminds me of Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich, that it's that burning desire and the persistence that has someone go through the troubled waters, and it's not the vision that needs to change, it's the plan in implementation that needs to change, and that's what you've demonstrated in what you've just shared there. Amazing. So what is your drive? What drives you? What's the best part of your job?
I have a few different drivers because I do have a split portfolio career. I'm not kind of just doing one job. So, I work in, creative agency space, and I work in not-for-profit space with Bus Stop Films, and then I work as a filmmaker, and I love storytelling and being involved in our film industry. And there's a few different drivers within those different portfolios. And for Bus Stop Films, I'm driven by my desire to make film studies accessible for people, to give people with intellectual disabilities the opportunity to engage in great intellectually stimulating programs that stretch and grow them. So, through our film studies course, we increase English skills, living skills, work-ready skills, confidence and well-being of our students with an intellectual disability through providing them with a film school experience. And I really do see a lot of kind of day programs out there for people with intellectual disability that really are not stimulating, do not really tap into hidden potential. I feel like we as a society don't really fight hard enough to help people with intellectual disabilities reach their full potential. And so I'm really driven by making a difference in that space and doing it through my passion for film studies. As a filmmaker, I'm driven to make great content, great entertainment that, inspires people, that makes them laugh, makes them cry, just all-round great entertainment. We need more of it. We need more family films. We need more films that speak to the heart and broad audiences. So, I'm inspired and driven to do that and tell diverse stories and, help people understand a different human perspective. And then in my creative agency, I'm really passionate and driven to create incredible content, to work with change makers in businesses that are on the forefront of innovating in their business and really wanting to push the boundaries in their business and use great creative strategy to drive impact. We want to work with those people that are on the forefront, that are innovative. And so my husband and I are very driven by working with those people and to make great creative content in those businesses, through branded entertainment and other forms, digital innovations. So they're kind of, the drivers within those different aspects of my career that get me going.
Amazing. And it's all and it all comes back to outcomes, loving it, and collaboration.
Absolutely. I'm extremely outcome driven. If we're not getting outcomes, if we're not seeing results and making difference and making change, the job's not being done. And so I am passionate about outcomes. I am driven by results, definitely.
Mm. Well, it's also proof and evidence now that the key to happiness is progress. So when we actually feel like we're progressing through life and achieving outcomes, big and small, and celebrating those milestones, we actually get a sense of purpose and that we're making a difference, that we're contributing in a positive way and having a great impact in the world. Yay! So with benefit of hindsight, what would you have done differently, if anything, in your life and career?
Benefit of hindsight. Yeah, hindsight's an interesting one because it's dangerous as well.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself up for bad decisions that you've made. um, Look, I mean, if there's been quite a few different lessons. I think a few lessons would be about trusting the gut. Trusting the gut on key decisions and really kind of doing more background research on the people we've worked with and whatnot. That would be one that that is really important. You know, really make sure you know who you're working with and make sure it is a good match.
Yeah, and values alignment.
Yeah, values alignment, that kind of thing. Don't jump the gun, don't jump ahead. All that kind of thing. And look, at the end of the day, I've stressed a lot over the years. I've caused myself a lot of anxiety and angst. And you know what? Like, I wish I could just go back and tell myself to relax, because honestly, if you get the concept of day to day, really, how's it gone today? Have you gotten through? Have you been able to, tick off even the small to-do list? Like, if you can get through day to day, it really helps, particularly when you are facing a big challenge. You can't, worrying doesn't add any hours to your life. It doesn't help you. And I just wish I could go backwards, and even in the midst of great storms and tribulation, and I wish I could just take time out to go, has today worked out? I'm still here. I'm still alive. The bottom hasn't completely fallen out. I'm not going to worry about tomorrow until I get to tomorrow. I'll just work it out day to day. I think that would be something I'd try and really get into my head. Yeah.
And into your body, because you operate from a different vibration when you're there from a place of peace and excitement and harmony, as opposed to stress and worry and anxiety or lack, fear, scarcity, and desperation. It's you create different results from having that. And I love what's in there at the base of all of that, as well as gratitude. That I'd say, hang on a second, okay, I haven't been swallowed up. I'm still here. I'm grateful for what I have achieved. Let me just focus on all the goodness that's also available for me in this moment. And it's almost like changing the camera angle and going, okay, yeah, I can focus on all the shit, or I can actually focus on the fact that, whoa, I'm actually still here.
Yeah.
I've still got perseverance in my heart. I've still got a drive to make this happen. I've still got the desire to find, discover, and create the solution in order to make this rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important. I certainly make an effort to be satisfied each day. To be to look at my day, be grateful, and feel a sense of satisfaction for the the life that I have on a just a day-to-day basis. I try not to look at the whole elephant. I try to get through an elephant one bite at a time.
And so what's the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Oh man, there's been lots of great advice, but I think the big bit of advice that I kind of live by and that I've kind of taken on board is, and I think it's quite popular at the moment as well. I see a lot of kind of inspirational quotes around it, but I really do take it seriously. It's it's about not fearing failure. Failure is a natural part of life. You have your mountaintops, you have your valley lows, and I think if you can understand that failure is not something that has to determine the direction of your life, but just rather part of the landscape on your journey to where you want to go, I think it puts you in good stead not to let it stop you from going after your goals and dreams.
Beautifully said. Really beautifully said. So what's the having gone into that, then what would be one of the greatest lessons that you have learnt to date?
Greatest lessons to have learnt. I think that one of my big lessons has been really about managing how I react to situations outside of my control.
Mm-hmm.
You can't control how people are going to react, behave. You can't control how they're going to do things. And in fact, trying to control things around you actually just, it doesn't, I've found that trying to control things doesn't really help things get done. I believe one of my biggest lessons has been to let go when I would want to try and control the outcomes of situations, to be satisfied with doing my best in a situation, doing all I can, and then kind of letting it unfold before me. That's been a big lesson of mine. I think it's helped in terms of, reducing stress and anxiety, and it's helped as well with my enjoyment of projects and doing life in general.
And I personally resonate really well with that, and I'm sure that our listeners also resonate with that. Let it go. It's and it is so beautiful to try not to control things that are outside of your control.
Exactly, and just always giving the benefit of the doubt, trying not to go to anger first, try to go to empathy first, understand where a person's coming from, understand the situation. I think, because a part of the control thing is like you get angry that things aren't happening your way, or, it's not happening how you would like it to happen. But, if you can kind of, I try these days not to go to anger first. I try to go to a place of understanding, work through things diplomatically, and the less you can blow your lid, the better. I mean, it's just good for relationships,
Yes.
It's good for progress, it's good for performance and getting the job done. It's been part of my learning journey for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And within that, I love the fact that, by not going into to anger, it's also keeping tap and awareness of your ego, because that's what's coming into play as well. And so whenever you stay in your heart space, you are naturally going to want to go to empathy and compassion and understanding, rather than any of the other secondary emotions that are kind of bursted out through an ego episode. So, incredible. And what advice would you give to your younger self?
Advice to my younger self. I had a really, when I was a kid, I just kind of thought I was good at one thing, and that was acting, and I really didn't think I had much potential for anything else. And I would really go back and say to myself, you could be good at more than one thing. I'd advise myself not to put myself in a box, because when you coming into starting to explore other careers, and, I now have a very versatile career that is across portfolios. And it was a real struggle for me to get out of the box, to actually accept that I'm a multidisciplinary person and have skills across industries, and I move between industries. It took a while for me to embrace that, and I got quite depressed over where I was kind of heading organically. It's like, what am I? Who am I? I should just be able to do one thing, and why am I kind of shifting and moving into this kind of multi-territory space? I think that not putting yourself in a box, embracing that actually we're, as human beings, quite incredible and capable of so much more than what we can give ourselves credit for sometimes. We've got so much in us. We can't put ourselves in a box. We've got to embrace the fact that there is more to us. And I think, being open to exploring your other passions and, other ideas for your career and other avenues for what you can be doing in society and to make a difference, and what your capacity is, I think is really important. Don't settle. I would say just don't settle for a capped potential. Always have the lid off. That's what I would say.
Amazing. I love that. I'm sitting here with the biggest smile on my face going, that's epic. It's such a great answer. Don't put yourselves in a box. And I love that, it is cross-functional as far as, well, what about hobbies? Broaden out from a hobbies point of view. Broaden out the way that you chill out. Broaden out the food that you eat or the food that you cook or, the friends that you have, the places that you go, the places in the world that you want to see. It's very exploratory and it's very experiential. And I think with that, we get to have many more experiences that create more fun, more freedom, and more fulfillment.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
And if we think about that from a human nature point of view as well, we need that flexibility. So when we stop putting ourselves in a box, we open up to being able to be much more flexible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think flexibility is really important. I think life is in itself quite fluid.
Yes.
It really is. We don't walk in a straight line. We go through landscapes of life. We move in between opportunities. And I think it's really healthy to have a flexible attitude to life. And I did have more of a rigid kind of approach to life. And I think that over the course of developing the career I currently have, I have become more flexible and I've had to become more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard for me to get out of the 9-to-5 mentality. That's another thing. I mean, because when we started the business, my husband and I, we had to be so diligent with our time and we wanted to spend every waking second on developing this business. But as it grew and as kind of my career began to take shape, I had to understand that I had to divvy up my time in different ways. And, sometimes I'd have to take, if I was to function normally, I'd have to take some time off, and that might be during the week. Goodness forbid, not the weekend. And it's really healthy to have that understanding that rest has to come into it. And, if you've got to work on your weekend, you've got to take time off during the week, even though it might feel wrong at the start because you've kind of been in a 9-to-5 weekday mentality and your weekends are for, whatever you've got to do. But, having a fluid approach and flexible approach to how you manage your time and divvy up, what you're doing with your time is really healthy and important in my opinion.
100%, totally agree with that. And that's also pushing the status quo. Because a lot of what you'd said in that answer from training yourself out of having one discipline and being a master at one thing and kind of all the hardness that kind of came with breaking out of that shell is a lot to do with the societal beliefs and values that are handed down from generation to generation.
Oh, absolutely. And it is a very, the future generations, like the millennials currently and the future gens, are going to have a much more fluid approach and understanding to the workplace. There will be more, portfolio careers popping up. People will move fluidly between industries and hybridize industries as well. So, it is a generational thing. It is a cultural thing. And I think it's healthy to have an understanding of that and understand, well, actually, I don't have to fit into that mold if this is where I'm going in life.
Yes. Yes. And we're already seeing that, aren't we? Where we need Wi-Fi, a mobile phone, a computer, and we can be anywhere in the world and run whatever size organization we want.
Yes,
it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So I'm curious if there is anything that keeps you up at night.
Do you know, I'm a really good sleeper, and that frustrates a lot of people. I sleep through. It's a real gift, to be honest. Even when I went through some of my most tumultuous times, I've had the gift of sleep. Like, I really, I've been really, really blessed and fortunate to sleep when, probably, some other people wouldn't have had such a fortunate thing. I don't stay up at night. I really value rest and sleep, and I've been really fortunate to have that. I'm not prone to sleepless nights, which is really great. I understand how lucky I am. Because I know a lot of people who do stay up, who do suffer from that when stress hits, and I don't take it for granted.
Well, especially considering that you'd spoken earlier so openly and honestly about the worry and the stress that you used to get into.
Yeah.
And I think the differentiation that I have there is that you value sleep. Now, a lot of people don't have that in their hierarchy of values. So by having sleep as one of your top 5, top 10 values, then that, it's important for you. You will set yourself up of an evening. I'm sure you have an evening routine in order to wind down. So when you do get to bed and you do go into your pillow zone, you are prepared for that.
Yeah, it is a value of mine. I do value it. I do understand its importance. And, I think it is important that it's not just an inconvenience, that it's actually an important part of how we function, and we need it.
So has there been anyone that has been an amazing influence on you?
I have a lot of mentors, mentors that I owe a lot to, people that kind of saw potential in me when I was quite young, a teenager, have given me opportunities, encouraged me, and I really value mentorship, and I have great friends that are doing some amazing things who I look up to as well. I really try and surround myself with people who are doing things that I admire. It helps to inspire me with what I'm doing and invigorates me and kind of puts faith in me. I'm really good friends with the amazing Holly Ransom, who, has been pinned as our, next, eventual female prime minister, and she's doing incredible work with the UN. And I'm good friends with, the co-founders of Thank You Group, and just, being friends with those guys has been awesome. I mean, just they're great friends, but I get so inspired by what they do and the values behind what they do and the big why behind what they do. And I look up to them. I look up to those friends of mine. And I have older mentors that have gone further than me, are wiser than me, know more than me. And I try to always remain teachable. If they've got some advice to me or, some form of correction, I take it on board. I don't want to think I've got it all figured out. I never want to think I've got it all figured out. I'm always open to learning more. And I've got great mentors in the incredible Wendy Simpson, OAM. She was instrumental in bringing the internet to China in the Chinese history book. So her innovation and her capacity to really, step out on a limb is very inspiring. And I have great, old women who are, in their 50s and 60s around me that have had incredible careers that I really try and learn as much off as possible. So, that's kind of, I have a collective group of people that I really look up to and admire and are inspired by.
I love that. And one of the things that you said when you spoke at the recent Women in Leadership Conference was the power of inclusion, and I think that that list that you just shared then was testimony to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have a big message. I mean, you heard it on inclusion and the importance of inclusion. And, we all need to find a way to, find someone and give them opportunities opportunities that that we have been afforded that they may not have been afforded, to open up our lives and to give into people. And I'm definitely the product of other people's inclusion. I say that I've been included in the lives of incredible people. They've said, "Yep, I'm gonna give you that precious commodity I can never get back, my time. I'm gonna invest my time into you. I'm gonna take you under my wing. I'm going to include you in my life and my knowledge and my learnings."
Yes.
And without that, I would definitely not be where I am. I definitely understand I'm the product of other people's kindness and inclusion.
Yeah. And I love the fact that what you do, as your long CV and accolades and the mark that you're making in the world, is that it's not only about the inclusion from others, it's the action that you take from being included. And that's what I believe is one of the greatest sort of marks of respect that we can show someone for giving us that time, is by taking action on what it is that we've heard, we've seen, we've absorbed, we've listened, and then we go out there and do as much goodness as possible because of that. So just awesome. So if you had one word that best describes you, your personal brand, what would that be?
Wow, it's a really interesting question. One word to describe me and my personal brand. Oh, wow. Okay. I've never had that type of question before. You usually get about 3 or 4 words. Look, I mean, I try and in everything I do, I try to be bold. I hope that I could be bold in every decision I make and have conviction and belief in what I'm doing. I mean, I try and everything, the drivers that I have to do what I do, I hope I do them with boldness and passion. And I would hope that, the work I'm doing makes a bold impact. And I'd like to be known as someone who's bold. So I'm going to just say bold.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And yes, I love it. So what are 3 golden nuggets you'd like to give our listeners today?
3 nuggets. Okay. I think a big one, which I've kind of mentioned a few times, is not to fear failure. Let it be a part of the journey. Don't try and avoid it. Just walk through it when it comes, and, dust yourself off and keep going. Be inclusive. That's something I always talk about. When we've been afforded opportunities, there's lots of other people that haven't been given those same opportunities. There are people from low socioeconomic situations. I was from a low socioeconomic home, and I had no connections to people of influence, power. I had no connections to finance or money. And it was other people believing in me and including me, and helping me access those types of connections that have been able to give me great opportunities to forge this type of career. So be inclusive, give others opportunities, give back. And I would also say to rest. I think people that listen to a podcast like this are obviously very motivated people. You're out there doing things, you want to develop yourself. I think it's really important that in our go society, where we're placing a lot of emphasis on achieve, we've got to give ourselves permission to just take a back step for a moment and rest, and eat the cookie, eat the ice cream, go for the walk, buy the pie, celebrate the little victories, and rest. We're not defined by our achievements, we're defined by our impact, and we're only going to be able to make an impact if we are kind to ourselves and rejuvenate and have the energy to do so. So you've got to give yourself permission to slow down sometimes. Things won't happen overnight, and you will burn out if you don't. Just take a little bit of time to rest and heal once in a while. So that would be my 3 nuggets.
They're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. They're nothing. They're brilliant. So what does the future storyline for Genevieve look, sound and feel like in one sentence? Have a few more words in this one.
The future storyline is a happy, satisfied and impacting life that is that prioritizes things in the best way possible. And when I talk about prioritize, I'm talking about, really focusing on what matters in life. If you don't mind me just elaborating on that, because I know you only wanted a sentence, sorry. But I understand that we live in a really fast-paced, high-achieving society. And I never want achievements and the desire to, have success overshadow the importance of family and satisfaction in life, enjoying the little things. I hope that my husband and I would build a strong family together, and that we would simply be happy in what we do, and that would be the future storyline.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for being with us today.
No worries.
It's been incredible to hear your answers to that, and for someone of your age, there's so much wisdom that comes out of you, and I look forward to watching this space as you evolve even more into the impact that you're going to have in the world. It's so beautiful.
Well, thanks, Julianne. It's been lovely time chatting with you. It's been lovely.
Yeah, ace. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. So we're going to have some links on the page as to where people can find you. Do you have a couple of websites that you'd like to share as well?
Yeah, so I suppose the 3 different websites are the Taste Creative website is www.tastecreative.com, the Bus Stop Films site, www.busstopfilms.com.au, and we've also got a Facebook page, Bus Stop Films, and a YouTube channel where you can see all the inclusive films that we've made with our students with an intellectual disability. Then there's my personal site that gives kind of a whole spectrum on everything I do, www.gclaysmith.com. So you can find out all the information on those different websites.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Julianne Black for the I Am Woman Project. Keep smiling and be brilliant now.
That brings us to the end of another episode. I hope you enjoyed the show, as it is my mission to reach out and inspire as many individuals like you. And one of the best ways to help us achieve this goal is by giving us a good review on iTunes. It's easy and it only takes about 10 seconds. If you have any questions or special guests that you would like to hear from, please send us an email to support@catherineplano.com.au and we will get right back to you. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter or Facebook @Catherine Plano. That's it for now. Thanks for listening. Until next week, please take care.